Deon Dreyer was no stranger to the thrill of adventure, a man whose heart beat for the ocean's depths and the mysteries that lay beneath the surface. Growing up in South Africa, Deon had always been drawn to the water, spending countless hours scuba diving in the warm, inviting waters along the coast. For him, diving wasn't just a hobby, it was a calling, an obsession. It was a connection to something deeper, something both beautiful and terrifying. Deon's dream, for years, had been to explore Bushman's Hole, also known as Bozeman's Gate, one of the world's most dangerous and awe-inspiring underwater caves. This massive, submerged freshwater cavern located in the desolate northern Cape Province of South Africa was notorious among cave divers for its depths and perilous underwater passages. Despite its alluring reputation, many divers had met their end in the murky darkness, their bodies never recovered, swallowed by the oppressive silence of the cave's unrelenting depths. Bushman's Hole is not like the typical diving experience. It is a vast, almost otherworldly space, reaching depths of 927 feet, 283 meters, making it one of the deepest caves of its kind in the world. The cave itself was both a magnet and a warning, a place where only the most experienced and daring divers dared to go, and even then, many perished in its depths. For Deon, however, it was more than a dive. It was the culmination of a lifetime of passion, a final frontier to explore. He could not resist the temptation of the cave, the challenge of something so dangerous yet so compelling. The opportunity to dive into Bushman's Hole came unexpectedly in 1994 when a team of divers invited him to join their expedition. For Deon, it was a dream realized. The excitement coursed through him as he prepared to take on one of the most dangerous feats of his life. The day they descended into Bushman's Hole, the air was filled with anticipation. The team of divers, veterans of cave diving, knew the risks, but the pull of the cave was too great to ignore. They knew that the journey would take them into the very heart of the earth, down into its dark and unforgiving depths, where few dared to venture. The entrance to Bushman's Hole is deceptive. To the casual observer, it might appear to be nothing more than a small tranquil pool nestled in the earth. However, to the experienced diver, it is a gaping mouth of danger, ready to swallow anyone foolish enough to venture too far. Deon and the team made their way down into the cool, clear waters, their lights cutting through the darkness, illuminating the walls of the cave as they descended deeper and deeper. But shortly into the dive, something went terribly wrong. As Deon followed the team into the abyss, a horrifying realization struck. One of the divers noticed that Deon had disappeared. He was no longer following the group. Panic began to set in as the diver looked around, trying to catch sight of him. The cave, once filled with a sense of awe, had now turned ominous. The weight of the situation began to dawn on the team as they descended further, calling out to Deon, but receiving no answer. Deon's body was sinking deeper and faster than anyone could comprehend. His descent was not gradual, not controlled. It was as though some unseen force was pulling him into the dark abyss. The diver in front of him realized, with a sinking heart, that Deon was in immediate danger. But there was nothing they could do. They were too far down, and the currents of the cave were too strong. The dive had turned from an adventure into a life-or-death struggle. As Deon sank, a terrifying thought began to form in the diver's mind. He was witnessing something irreversible. It was too late. Deon had disappeared into the abyss, and no one could reach him in time. The diver tried to swim down after him, but the cave's immense depth and disorienting darkness made it an impossible mission. It was as though the cave itself had swallowed Deon whole, and there was no way to bring him back. The team was forced to make the agonizing decision to turn back. They couldn't risk their lives trying to retrieve him. The depths of Bushman's Hole were too dangerous, too unpredictable. What had started as an adventure had turned into a nightmare. With heavy hearts, they surfaced, knowing they had lost their teammate, but also understanding the harsh reality that there was no way to save him. Back on the surface, the news was broken to Deon's family, his parents, his loved ones, and his friends. Their world collapsed. Deon's disappearance was not just a tragic event. It was an unimaginable loss. His family, particularly his parents, were left in shock, trying to process the unthinkable. The uncertainty surrounding his fate was unbearable. No one knew exactly what had happened to him. Was it a deep water blackout? A condition that can cause divers to lose consciousness at great depths? Or had something gone terribly wrong, something that no one could have predicted? The authorities were called in to attempt a recovery mission, but they soon realized that retrieving Deon's body from such depths was an almost impossible task. The sheer scale of Bushman's Hole made it a daunting challenge. They attempted to use robotics, but even these advanced tools couldn't reach the bottom. As time went on, the family and friends were left with no answers. The body of their beloved Deon was lost in the abyss, and the painful truth was that they might never have closure. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months, and the search for Deon continued, but there was no sign of him. His family was left with a terrible silence, unable to even mourn properly. Without a body, they had no place to grieve, no place to say goodbye. Every day they lived with the crushing weight of the unknown. What had happened to Deon? What had been his final moments in that dark, unforgiving cave? In the years that followed, Deon's parents erected a plaque at the entrance to Bushman's Hole in memory of their son. It stood as a silent tribute, a monument to a life lost too soon, to a dream that was never realized. Yet for his parents, it was not enough. They could never escape the pain of knowing that their son's body remained in the depths of the cave, unreachable, a symbol of the deep, incomprehensible sorrow they carried every single day. Deon Dreyer's death in Bushman's Hole is not just the story of a diving accident. It is the story of a young man with a passion for the unknown, whose life was tragically cut short by the very thing he loved most, the depths of the ocean. It is a tale of loss and grief, of dreams unrealized and unanswered questions. It is the story of a family left to mourn not just the loss of their son, but the uncertainty that comes with it, a sadness that no plaque, no memorial, no explanation could ever truly heal.